goal of this problem is to find the intersection point A comma B of two lines. Now we're given some information about each line, but it's not going to be quite so straightforward to find this intercept point. We're going to have to be sure that we're going through the equation of a line in standard form and being careful about the slope, the y-intercepts, and all that stuff. So I'm going to do both lines here. We have to, but first I want to focus on this line right here. It has slope 2, and it gives a point for it. Okay, so we're going to call this line number 1, and let's set up the information that we have. First of all, this is my go-to equation, y equals mx plus b, and I'm told that the slope is 2. So I can modify this equation and say y equals 2x plus b. And now I'm going to plug in that point that I'm given, this point right here, -1 comma -4. Okay, so -4 is the y value, -1 is the x value, and you see that's going to give me -4 equals -2 plus b. Well, that just tells me that b equals -2. And now I can write my line in standard form. Y equals 2, that's the slope, 2x minus 2, the y-intercept. Okay, so that's my equation for line 1. Great, we're halfway done. Now, line number 2, we're told some information about this thing. I'll just underline it right here. It passes through those 2 points. Well, it's not as nice as telling me the slope, but we can go find the slope. So first things first, m equals, and if you remember rise over run, that's what we're talking about here. Well, how far does it go up? I go from, and let me write another equation here. You might remember this one. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 minus y1 is the distance in the up direction you go. So what is that? That's 1, that's the y2 value, minus 6, that's the y1 value. And x2 is -2, and x1 is -3. Hopefully you can see where I'm getting those in these points right here. Okay, that's where those are coming from. And if we simplify this, it becomes -5 over, let's see, that becomes -2 plus 3. Okay, so we've got 1 on the bottom. So this slope is -5. So now I can write my equation y equals -5x plus b, and we plug in either one of those points. Either one will be fine. I'm just going to choose y equals 1, x equals -2. Keeps the multiplication a little bit smaller here. So I get 1 equals -5 times -2 plus b. That means 1 equals 10 plus b. And that means -9 is my y-intercept. And that means if I want to put this in standard form, it's y equals -5x minus 9. Great. Now I have 2 equations for these lines. Well, we know they intercept. So now I'm going to have to, let's change colors again. I'm going to have to set them equal to each other. So they're going to intercept at a place where their y values are equal. So I'm going to say 2x minus 2 equals -5x minus 9. Okay. Well, now we just do a little adding of x to each side, a little adding of the 2 to each side. So I get 7x equals -7, and that means x equals -1 at the intercept point. That's really important. This is basically our a value of that intercept point we were talking about earlier. Now I need to find the y value. All I do is I plug it in. Y equals, and I'll pick this first one right here. It doesn't matter, you could pick either one. 2 times that x value minus 2. Okay, so that means y equals -2 minus 2, that's -4. So that means I now have a and b. I'll write it here just to be very clear about this. A comma b equals -1 comma -4. Okay, and what we're asked for in this problem is a plus b. It's just a cute little way of making it harder to guess by asking you for the sum of these two things. So -1 plus -4, that'll be -5 right here. Okay, so just a reminder, when you're faced with a problem like this and they don't come out and tell you the slope, you have to use the rise over run equation right here, find the slope. Once you have the slope, then you need to use y equals mx plus b and work your way towards the y-intercept, and then you should be in the clear.